Hello and welcome back to another lore reading with me, Meoni, for Final Fantasy XIV. This is where we're looking at the history of Eorzea as written in the Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 1. So last time around we actually read through the story for the Forgotten Age and Princess Selena's legacy. Today we're going to be looking at the Age of Enlightenment. So this deals with the Dark City of Mark and a precursor to war. So the Age of Enlightenment. The Fifth Astral Era was an age of untold wonders, when the arcane arts burgeoned and the great civilizations that commanded such powers flourished. Alas, this Age of Enlightenment would not last. The War of the Magi brought the great floods of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, which swallowed once proud nations and left naught but a battered wasteland in its wake. A quote there of Naneko Nako, a Uldan scholar. The Fifth Astral Era, Seeds of Magic. As the dawn of the Fifth Astral Era, as Eorzea was huddling in the bitter cold of the endless frost, the people of the realm once more beseeched the 12 for warmth. It was during this time that a magnificent cathedral was built on the edge of a black shroud. A sanctuary where people would fervently pray to the gods and harness the power of their blessings through the use of magic. These rituals rose in prominence as a way for the survivors of the Fifth Calamity to cope with the era's bleak prospects, and served as a driving force in the realm's revitalization. As the harsh climes subsided, the people once again set out across the realm. Small settlements grew into towns, then cities, each with their own unique culture. The universal worship of the 12 splintered as the denizens of these communities sought to assert their newfound sense of identity. By choosing patron deities to protect them, these widening differences in culture, religion, and approaches to the arcane arts would lead to intense contests for supremacy between nations. And there's a small section here along with an accompanying picture that I'll take a picture for you and show on screen. The first Sanctum of the 12 is believed to have been erected around the dawn of the Fifth Astral Era. After years of disuse, the original structure fell into ruin, overgrown by the thick brush of a black shroud and lying forgotten until after the Seventh Umbral Calamity, when it was unearthed and restored to its former glory. In the modern age, it also serves as a hall wherein the gods bear witness to the declaration of eternal bonds between lovers. So essentially something that's that old and steeped in calamities and, lost to time is now used as our way in-game of marrying other people, which is quite interesting. That shows you how old that building is. A precursor to war. Fledgling cities emerged around the 300th year of the Fifth Astral Era, and for the next 2.5 centuries, the number of city-states would grow to 12, each paying tribute to a unique god or goddess of the Eorzean pantheon. These city-states, however, lacked the stability of their modern-day counterparts, and the onset of the Age of Enlightenment was rife with turmoil, with territorial borders endlessly redrawn as smaller domains found themselves ravaged, divided, or integrated into larger populations. By the 1000th year of the Fifth Astral Era, the realm's sovereign nations numbered 6, the most prominent among them, Mark. Located in the western basin of Yafame, Amdapor, situated on the plains of central Aldenard, or what is now known as the South Shroud, and Nim, spanning the western coast of the Isle of Vilbrand. In the latter half of the era, the city-states, which had heretofore weathered centuries of intermittent upheaval, would find themselves embroiled in a feud of an entirely different scale. There's a small section here along with a picture of a black brush. It says, concerning the rise and fall of the early civilizations of the Fifth Astral Era, historians believe there is still much to be gleaned from yet undiscovered relics that remain hidden within the shattered ruins of the fallen cities. The rush to salvage these priceless artifacts, however, has put Eorzean scholars in pursuit of knowledge against the avarice of ruthless treasure hunters. And there we go. So next we have a really, really nice looking picture. I'm going to definitely show you this today. And it says, the crumbled foundations of the city of Mark can still be seen in Yathame's brackish swamps. The enormous scale of the ruins, evidence of the civilization's once vast population. Rising waters, however, have since reclaimed the former home of the mages, reducing it to an uninhabitable wilderness. So that leads us to the dark city of Mark. The lands of Yathame are presently mired in an uninhabitable saltwater swamp, yet this was not always the case. When the icy winds of the fifth umbral calamity abated, thawed snows trickled down from the northeastern mountains of Abalathia to form the White Maiden, which, in time, nurtured the soils of the lowlands. The region transformed into a fertile landscape, and it was near the 500th year of the fifth astral era that the region's people came together to establish the city of Mark. At the time of its foundation, Mark was merely one among 12 undistinguished city-states struggling to survive. The Amdapori were the dominant power, controlling a sizable portion of central Eorzea, and wielding significant influence outside their immediate domain. The balance shifted drastically in Mark's favour around the year 800, however, when a sorceress by the name of Shatoto came upon a ruinous form of magic. A tale passed down by practitioners of the art in the Order of Null Stone claims it was Shatoto who first developed the ability to draw upon ambient ether to imbue her spells with deadly power. Thus did the realm witness the birth of modern black magic. The Marquis used this newfound knowledge to bolster the strength of their army, and were successfully able to weather the tumultuous ebb and flow of feuds that reduced many other city-states to rubble, ultimately rising to become a substantial military power. And now we have a section on void magics. Although the Marquis were known masters of black magic, the extent of their power was not limited to Shatoto's school of spellcraft. Toward the autumn years of the fifth astral era, the civilization had begun perfecting void magics, the summoning and manipulation of creatures known as void scent from beyond the corporeal realm. A report by the scholars of the nominated Observers of Artifacts Historical defines the void as an otherworldly parallel to one in which man dwells. Abnormal events can weaken the veil between worlds, tearing it asunder and allowing the void scent to invade the material realm. These fiends have a depraved appetite and seek our world merely to consume the ether it contains, allowing neither beast nor man to stand in their way. The mages of the Allegan Empire had previously experimented in forging covenants with the demons of the void in hopes of harnessing the creature's powers. The Marquis expanded on this endeavour, adding extra protectors in their experiments so as not to invite the same fate that befell the Allegans. To this end, the mages developed an occult device, the Null Stone, to preserve themselves and their city should a pact be broken. If a summoned void scent refused to obey the master, a void mage could smite the feral being using the Null Stone to sever its ties to the corporeal realm. It was in mastering this power that Marquis came to believe in their civilization's supremacy over all others, eventually driving them to war. There's two little sections here along with a couple of pictures. They've got the Null Stone on one of the pictures here and some of the magics, and we also have, well, surprise, surprise, who that is there. So let's read a couple of these. Powerful void scent were brought to heel via the Null Stone, reducing them to naught more than strategic weapons for the Marquis military. A mage by the name of Calofisteri combined the power of an ether-infused crystal with a ritual consumption of void-scent blood to achieve a twisted form of immortality, that she might guard this artifact from those who might seek to destroy it. There we go, so Calofisteri there, that gives you a bit of information about who she was. And then the other bit says, creatures categorized in the upper rungs of the 12-tiered void scent hierarchy cannot pass through dimensional borders by way of an artificial tear. They instead require a willing vessel from the corporeal side. Possessing their soul and entering the world by way of a summoning, the Null Stone has the capability to destroy that vessel and nullify the pact between it and the summoner, making it a powerful tool in maintaining control over even the most powerful of Voidsent. And that's where we're going to leave today on the Age of Enlightenment, the first 2 pages of that. Next, we have, in the next video, we'll be talking about the ancient city of Amdapor, all about white magic, and it leads on to the floating city of Nim. Stunning stuff. There's quite a few pages of, well, really interesting stuff to go through. It's really fun for me to read through these. Again, there's been all sorts of delays, there's been travel, there's been illnesses, you name it, that have prevented me from doing these lore videos previously in the past couple of weeks, but we're finally back to it. I'm really enjoying learning alongside you, and hopefully that's exactly what you've done. If you've heard these stories before or read them in the Encyclopedia Eorzea, hopefully my reading of them did them at least a tiny bit of justice. Again, you know, this isn't my profession. I'm not a narrator or a audiobook person, but I do enjoy reading stuff, and I find it easier to learn things if I read them out loud, so I might as well record them. Anyway, thank you kindly for listening or watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll see you all next time.